Hi traders, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I would do a little bit of a different video. I know this is something that probably a lot of you are very interested in. I happened to take a trade tonight during the extended hours in NASDAQ and futures, and I thought, why don't I make a quick video just going over the walkthrough of the trade, the logic behind it, how I got in, how I got out, etc. I think this will be a really good example because it's going to combine everything that I use in terms of price action, volume profile, and to a lesser degree some order flow, because since there's so little volumes and usually not as much volatility and movement at night, I don't rely too much on order flow like footprint charts or delta when I trade extended hours, but I'm still going to show you how you can apply that also as some extra confirmation on it. Okay, so if you haven't done so, make sure to subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Let me know if you like this kind of video, and this can be something I'll keep making. And also you can check out in the description below, there's links for discounts on trader funding companies as well. So let's just start off very quickly with a higher time frame analysis. If you saw my weekend analysis that came out a few days ago on NASDAQ, this is the area we're in, and I talked about 20,602, very important level, and you can see how Friday and Monday we are still having a hard time breaking through that level. We left a bearish pin bar on Monday, so I am going into this with a more of a bearish sentiment on this market. However, that doesn't mean I cannot take quick trades to the upside on the lower time frames. Here, if we go down into the 1 hour, let me just bring up the profile again. And so you can see we gapped up at the end of Sunday night. So I was watching this on Sunday night to see if we would just come back and fill it. And you can see that we actually just went up and spent most of the day up over the 20,602 and over this low volume node resistance zone. But then right at the open on Monday 9 a.m. we just went down, and then we just slowly grinded down until the gap was filled at 3 p.m. at the end of regular trading hours. Okay, so now my eye is going to this area, this little last consolidation pre-breakout. So I'm going to tell you about the trade I took, which was right around in this little area. It was just a quick trade. So if we go into the 5-minute chart, you can see here I have, as always, I have my session volume profile split. So this gray one, this is regular trading hours up until 5 o'clock. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern, when futures open, I have my extended hours. So the trade I took, let me put in the executions. Okay, so you can see I entered on this pin bar on the 5-minute right there. And then I got out in 3 parts up into this cluster here. I'm gonna go over in detail of the whole execution. Okay, let's go into the 1 minute, because this was a trade that I executed on the 1 minute. And I actually didn't even reference the previous regular trading hour session because we were ranging within this. You can see we have a very balanced profile for the session. I got in on this candle right over here, and I got out at this cluster. Okay, so when we have a very balanced profile, that means that you can see also by the VWAP how price is just like chugging up and down through it. That means we definitely have a ranging day. Usually, if it's going to be a trending day, then you're going to see price, VWAP and price usually respecting it and retesting it and using it as support. But when we're more balanced, it's just going to chop through. And you can see VWAP is very close to the point of control as well. Okay, so on days like this, you want to be looking for entries on the extremes for a rotation back to the middle or to the other side where the volumes drop off at the edges of the high volume node. Okay, now for this, I use one of my favorite price action patterns. Okay, so it's called many different names, but most commonly it's called the over-under pattern or Quasimodo pattern. One of my favorite price action patterns, and it is for a bullish example. It will be when we come, price bounces off a level, then we go below that level, and then we come up, break the previous high, and then we come back down into that level and we look for an entry right here on the left side. So you can see it's basically, that's why it's called over under, because we have this level, we go over, then we go under it, then over again, and then we look for an entry here. This will be the bullish scenario. And then the bearish scenario will be just the opposite of this. We would be coming up, we make a high, then we come, we break higher, then we break down below, and when we come up and we look for an entry back at that left shoulder level. So as you can notice, it's very similar to a head and shoulders pattern, but with the over under, we're looking to get in earlier, because a head and shoulders pattern says you get in on a break of the neckline here. So you would be getting in here. With the over under, we're just getting in exactly at the level of the left shoulder when it is forming. Okay, so let me clear up the screen here for a second. Okay, so now going back to the chart, you can probably already identify why I went in at the levels I went in. And you can see in this case, we had the high volume node, and then I noted this low right here. We also had valley area low right there. So we have 68% of all the traded volume within this valley area, the gray area right here, and this will be valley area low. And we had this support here. We had all this supports back here at the beginning of the session. We had the deviation down and a very strong reaction up. We closed through this highs, and then you can see here we actually had a nice support here that got broken and we started coming down. So I identified this when we were like right around this area holding VWAP, and I set a limit order here. If I go and highlight here, you can see right there it says buy 6 at 20,494.75, which is exactly at the valley area low line. Now this account, just so you can see that it is a real, it is a funding account with a take profit trader. It's a valuation. It's the 150K account, which I have. I'm on day 2, and you can see the total P&L for the trade is down here. I made 1,675, and I'll go over the details in a second. But yeah, Take Profit Trader and my funded futures are the firms that I'm using the most now. And again, you can find links down in the description with discounts with code PABT. So I got in at 6 contracts right over here. Now let me split the screen. So we have 1 minute on one side and 5 minutes here. When I got in, you can see I got in at 9:15. So I was waiting for a good the 5-minute close. I could have waited for the 5-minute close to candle, which as you can see here, we had a very nice bullish pin bar close. Once I saw this 5-minute candle close, I knew that I was going to that the trade had a much higher odds of succeeding. So this was the entry. My take profit was right here originally. Oh no, it was actually down there, which is when right there. 25, 10, 75. I had a limit order set to get out of 3 contracts there. And then I was waiting for a possible second target at this high here. And also you can see the spike at the open. So I was looking to close half the trade here, which would have been the first trouble area at this previous highs, which you can see it's almost like another over-under pattern on top here. So I got out my first 3 contract at this previous high at the value area high line. Then I closed another one here, 1 more contract, and then I held 2 more, and I said, okay, we might shoot up here, but when we started coming down, I got out here for the whole position. You can see I could have squeezed a little more on this push, but as you can see, this actually failed and we never got up to this highs, and we just started coming back to VWAP, and then we just broke below it. Okay, but the original setup then, again, this was the entry level, this was the first take profit, and my stop loss, I had it set right around here. So you can see it did come close to my stop loss, but I knew that we had this node and we had this protection here, this cuts in volumes, all these lows here. So that's why I put it just below this area in case we did come through deeper, okay? And you can see here on the 5-minute, it looks a lot cleaner. Once we broke, once we closed the 5-minute candle right over here, then it looked a lot more positive. And as we started pushing up, I moved my stop loss right below this low over here. And then you can see it was very quick, just in a matter of about 3 or 4 minutes. I was up into the take profit area here. Also, we had this lows here that were coming back to test from underneath. So that was also another area that I knew we would probably have trouble breaking through. So that's why this was my first logical place to take an exit here. Okay, now, how do we use order flow with this as well? Well, like I said, during the night hours, extended hours, volumes are very low, so I generally don't tend to use a lot of order flow. However, you can see here, this is a 5-minute footprint chart of the NASDAQ on Sierra chart. This is again the profile. And if I zoom in, this is the 5-minute candle that I got in. And you can see 2 positive signs that made me more confident as well in the trade. First one, we have a delta divergence. What do we mean by that? we made a push down. We ended up closing right near the highs with a bullish pin bar, and yet we have a delta of minus 20. So that means there was more aggressive trading, more aggressive participants selling into here, but there was some significant limit orders absorbing all that, and we ended up with a positive candle and making a very significant swing low on negative delta. So that's a very bullish sign. And then if I zoom in, I gotta zoom in a lot because NASDAQ has very high tick counts. But you can see here, I have highlights here. This is a volume by delta footprint. I sometimes use bid by ask, but I also like to use volume delta because for me, my main thing is I want to see absorption and I want to identify high volumes. Like I said, the volumes are not huge, but if you compare them to other candles, you can see on average we have, 5, 9, 7, some like 11s here. There's a couple of higher ones, but overall just 10 or lower is the average of the volumes at each tick level. And yet on this candle, we had 55 right here, which is the highest up to this point in the session, 31, 28, 30. So you can see we're starting to get a cluster right at the valley area low of higher volumes, okay? So that to me indicates that we're hitting some larger limit orders that are absorbing all this aggressive selling. And then we close on top, and then this was the sign, and then market started taking up. And then if you see right here, when we came up right to the, like I said, the previous support level that was broken and everything, you can actually see we put in a bearish candle right here, 2 bearish candles in a row with divergence to the downside. So this was definitely a good area to have exited the position. Okay? And then you can see, like I said, it pushed more, but then it came up, and now it's just been pretty much chopping around here. Okay? So this was a very quick trade. Now, at the moment when I got in, when the candle was like down here as one big solid red candle, it looked pretty iffy for some time. But once I saw this 2-minute candles holding and forming a pin bar respecting the valley area low and the bottom of the high volume node, then I got a little bit more confident. And it's very important, again, just let your trades be confident in the setup and let it play out. Obviously, I could have gotten stopped out. I had a very clear risk set right at these levels that I didn't want it to get through the low volume node here. But, you just got to let it play out. And that was, again, a very nice quick trade, 1,675 profit. Again, this is a prop funding account with Take Profit Trader in the evaluation that I'm working to build up to get another funded account. And that was the main idea for the trade walkthrough. I hope this was useful. Again, if you want to learn more about all the strategies, make sure to check out my courses through the link below as well, where you can learn more about all these different setups and things that I use. Okay, so with that, I'll leave you. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next weekend with a new market analysis video.